let's deal with the AGM as swiftly as possible, then we'll have a break for tea and coffee, and then we'll reconvene. I'm Davis, I'm the chair of the Community Forum for probably about the next 15 minutes. My job tonight is to report on last year's activities. I will also be giving the Treasurer's report because unfortunately our Treasurer Fiona is in London looking after a relative who's not very well. We'll then proceed to the election of the new steering group, and then I have a few words to say. I think Claire might also want to say something, and then we'll break for tea. So I hope that's what you all think you were coming for this evening. Right, so this year's activity, it kind of falls, I think, into two halves. So we've done the things that we've done for the last few years, but also the second half of the year there's been a lot of work on ensuring a smooth transition, because as I think most of you will be aware, I am stepping down as chair after 9 years, and Chris is stepping down as comms officer after 9 years. So that is quite a significant change for the forum. I can see David Skinner pulling angsty faces. It's fine, it's all sorted. So in terms of the regular activity, we'll start with the comms side of things. Chris has been maintaining the website. We've put out 2 of our lovely, colourful Queen Edith magazines this year. The weekly email now goes to 1,900 subscribers locally. It's the most phenomenal communications channel, I think, that exists anywhere in the city. And the good news is that we have assembled a team who are able to succeed Chris and keep that going. So that's great, and we can introduce you to them in a minute. Really, the purpose of the website and magazines and the email is to help people understand what's going on in the area and how they can participate. And we know that this is a big and a very visible strand of our work, and that people really appreciate it, and it has been transformational to people's understanding of this neighbourhood over the last 10 years. And that is absolutely thanks to the vision and dedication of Mr. Christopher Rand, who I would like to stand up at this point. We've taken Chris out to dinner and said thank you to him as a committee, but I think everybody in Queen Edith, everybody who gets the email, has ever looked at the magazine, owes that man the most massive debt for all of the time and effort he's put into making it so successful, and I certainly do. So thank you, Chris.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much.
Yes, so we now have a team effort that will replace Chris, I think on a ratio of 3 to 1, is that about right? And Ed, sitting here at the front, is part of that team.
That's me.
Ed subbed in for Chris last summer when Chris was roaming across the States, and managed the email really well, and that's going to be how we keep that going. We are still looking for help with the magazine, as you'll have seen in the last few emails, and if anyone would like to get involved with that strand of work, please come and talk to one of us. It is really important that we try to find a way of maintaining that. In terms of events, we had not 1 but 2 hustings this year. The normal one in April, and then one in November, precipitated by the resignation of the sitting city councillor. They are events which we can tell make a difference here in terms of people's understanding of local democracy and their sense of engagement with who's elected here. Not only do people attend on the evening, but they do sit and watch the videos afterwards. About 250 views for the last several hustings, which I think is amazing. The next hustings for this May's set of council elections is going to be on the 18th of April here, So I hope we get a good turnout for that, and we ask some really searching questions of our would-be representatives. The other thing we do every mid-September is the event formerly known as Skip Day, which we keep trying to rebrand as something which sounds a little bit more aspirational, but
Skip Day works.
Skip Day works. Really well attended, good mix of stall holders. I promised Claire I will give her all the contact information before I go, and we'll do that again this year in conjunction with the City Council, mid-September, date to be confirmed. In terms of places, I think most of you will be aware that we've handed Joy's Garden, the vacant plot on Bulldog Way, back to the City Council. We did that in July or August. That is pending development by a charity called It Takes a City as a location for 4 homeless pods. Before we handed it back, we managed to find takers for the Book Box and the Bug Hotel. The Book Box has gone to Blue Cove Grove, and the Bug Hotel's gone to this very church, in fact, as part of their Eco Church initiative. So that's kind of rounded that off nicely. Something slightly more problematic is the pavilion in Nightingale Park. Claire and I have put huge effort into trying to understand with the council how we can best support what's going on there. And I think it's fair to say that we don't have any very clear answers on that yet, but we are hoping now that it's open and stuff is apparently starting to happen there, that there will be a better means of disseminating to local people how that facility, which we have waited for so long to open, can actually make a positive contribution to people's lives. And then the last strand of what we do, I guess, is what you'd call social support. And that really has 2 dimensions. One is the Holiday Lunch Club, which is a thing which runs one day every school holiday or half term in conjunction with St James's Church, and the idea is that we get interesting activities and a meal to families who might find it hard for reasons of financial or social exclusion to access some of the other provision that's made available in the city. The idea is we do something positive on their doorstep, it's all free, and it's not limited to any particular demographic, but certainly the tendency is that it's families who don't have many other options during those breaks who come, and it's great. So what we are doing with those is, what we have done with those this year is support St James's, basically organise them. St James provides the space, and work with a local mum who's absolutely passionate about keeping it going, because it's something that has mattered very much to her own family. Support her in being as ambitious as she can be with the kinds of people we have come along and the kinds of activities we can offer, and I think there's a real momentum there, isn't there? So that's great. And then the other big activity is the food hub. So we're remarkably approaching the 4th anniversary of the setting up of the food hub. I remember the date, clear as anything, 9th of May, because my husband got admitted to Addenbrooke's with sepsis on the 5th of May. He's here tonight to tell the tale. The food hub continues to make a massive contribution to the lives of people who are really struggling, and the numbers of people attending, the cost of purchasing food, both of those are going up, and even though people continue to be incredibly generous with the donations to it, we've reached a point really where we need to think again about how that model is working, and that's partly driven, as I say, by our own finances, partly driven by changes to how the wider food poverty landscape is shaping up in Cambridge, and initiatives to try and address that. So there's two things kind of moving, hopefully in sync with each other. So what is going to happen, it currently appears, is that the Queen's Community Food Hub will become a branch of the City Food Bank's Fairbite social supermarket scheme. We've looked at all sorts of options for how we can keep it going, and we think that's the one which is the best balance of sustainability and maintaining the aspects of it of the food hub which we know really matter to our visitors. So there'll be more information about that as we kind of work through the details, but I wanted to share that with people this evening. We will still need your support. We will still need your support, and I hope you will still want to support it. While I'm on the subject of the Food Hub, I have to say a very significant thank you to Viv, who can't be here tonight. Viv succeeded Risa last summer as the coordinator for the Food Hub. She's the one who sorts the food out, she's the one who sorts the volunteers out, and this was not foreseen when she took the role on, she's also been attending a huge amount of meetings to try and understand and explore what the different options are for the future. So in Viv's absence, I would like to say a very big thank you to her as well. Okay, so that's kind of a whistle-stop tour of what we've done this year. Fiona, our treasurer, has written a report, which I will just read, and then if people have questions about either what I've said or Fiona's report or anything else, we'll fit those in before the election of the next committee. Fiona says, there's still 1 week of our financial year to go, but we've posted provisional accounts for the year on the Community Forum website. The magazine has continued under Chris's editorship to pay for itself, and at year end, the balance in the main Community Forum fund will be £4,800. The weekly newsletter costs about £40 a month to send out, which is just the cost of the mailing software. The year started with a Food Hub balance of £19,000, but by the end of this February, that will be down to about £7,000, and that's why we're looking at different models now. Since the Food Hub was set up in May 2020, thanks to the immense generosity of our wonderful neighbours, we've been able to buy more than £102,000 worth of food for distribution. Sadly, demands are now greater than ever, and the monthly income from our wonderful regular supporters covers less than half of our outgoings, so we warmly welcome any financial donations you can make. Lastly, thank you to James Berry for kindly agreeing to review the accounts in March after our financial year end. Once he's done so, we will post the finalised accounts on the forum's website. That's that. Right. So does anyone have any questions on any of that? No? That's easy. Claire, can you see how busy this is? Okay, right, so this is the bit where I always get myself in a muddle. So we now proceed to the election of this. Oh, sorry, I should have said, are we happy to approve the accounts? On the basis that there are no questions, I assume we are. Everyone in favour?
Yep. Aye. Yep.
Great, okay, thank you. Election of new steering group. So the following proposals have been received. Claire Adler is proposed as the new chair. Fiona Goodwill has indicated she's willing to continue as treasurer. And then we have 3 new proposed steering group members. Ed as communications officer, Jill, and also wearing pink t-shirt at the front here, as secretary, and Pat Harrington as events officer. What are we calling her? Events person.
Something like that.
Yeah, she does events. And then we, in addition to those named positions, are also constructing a committee, which will include Paul and Alex Elbro as well, who are here wearing pink t-shirts, as I guess officers without portfolio.
And also Anthony as well as offered. He said he's going to help.
Yeah. So I think the 5 we need to vote on are the 5 which have titles. Yep. So I would like to propose Claire as chair. Is anyone happy to? Alex, thank you. Claire, you are now the chair of Community Forum.
I should look more enthusiastic.
Would you like to continue the elections now?
No, because you can't get to your departing bit first, so you've got to get everyone else in.
All right. As I said, Fiona's happy to stay on as treasurer. Is everyone happy to support that?
Yes.
She's done a fabulous job. Ed, as communications officer. Everyone in favour? I think if Chris says yes.
Few.
Jill, as secretary. Is everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much, Jill, and we look forward to seeing minutes of the meeting. Very decent of you to do them before you got elected. And Pat, as events. Everyone in favour?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, we have a committee, and I know Claire was anxious about taking the role on because she was worried that she would not have support to enable her to do a good job alongside all the other calls on her time. I think she feels, and I certainly feel now, that we have a committee that is really up for it and to move things on to the next stage in the community forum's progress. So that is fabulous. Thank you. Right, so now my final comments as departing chair. Let me get them up. I felt it was quite important that I wrote them down because I wanted to get it right. I spent a lot of time thinking about what to say because, like I say, this is 9 years' work that ends this evening. Chris gave me the answer, as usual, because he normally does. He has written an excellent article on the history of our involvement, which is going to be published in tomorrow's email, is that correct? I hope you read it. This is what I took away from it. These are the points that I would want to make to anyone contemplating going on this kind of adventure. Chris and Rebecca Jones and I did not know each other before the fateful meeting that ended up with the 3 of us becoming the community forum. There was no magic circle, there was no clique, it was a magical coming together of people who happened to be in the right place at the right time. That can be replicated anywhere by anyone. Our only qualification, as Chris quite rightly says in the article, was that we had ideas. I think that's a direct quote. Everyone has ideas. Everybody wants their neighbourhood to be a better place. And the whole point of the community forum was to find a way of helping at least some of those ideas become reality. Try stuff. Be opportunistic. You know, Joy's Garden and the work we did through COVID, none of us had a plan for any of that. We responded to circumstance and to gaps, and I truly believe that that's the way to tackle this. There's no pro forma. Claire doesn't have a job description any more than I had one. It's just about seeing what works. And sometimes things don't work, and when they don't work, you move on. We had a real desire to try and use the vacant unit next to the shops on Wolston Way, the Haven, to set up a warm hub over last winter. It's owned by the City Council. One might have thought that they would be amenable to letting us use it, but they weren't. We tried, we stopped trying, and we did something else instead, which was to talk to the churches and the old people's homes and Rock Road Library, and we had a distributed approach instead. We learned very quickly that it isn't possible or desirable to do everything yourself. The strength of the community forum is how it facilitates others to do what they're passionate about. So that was how Nightingale Garden really took off. It's Rachel with the Clothes Hub, Lorraine with the Holiday Lunch Club. That's how you create something which is greater than the sum of its parts. We had two principles: making Queen Edith a better and brighter place to be, and by residents, for residents. That makes for a wonderful free space for fun and learning and creativity. And that's why I'm really happy that we've got the theme for the second half of the meeting, because that's kind of where it all started. Everyone benefits from strong, interconnected, trusting communities. You can build community in different ways. You can bring together people who share an interest or an identity or a stage of life. But I truly believe there is something uniquely valuable about nurturing and facilitating a geographical community which is based around a shared sense of neighbourhood and neighbourliness. Because once you have that, it unlocks so much. Some of it's really trivial, you know, borrowing the proverbial cup of sugar, popping in to feed the cat while your neighbour's away, putting their bins out. But it also enables the profound. One of the most astonishing stories I've heard was from some neighbours, not very far away from here, who sat with their neighbour and her children while she had a mental health crisis for 12 hours waiting for services to come out, and the services didn't come, and they didn't walk away from her, and they kept them all safe. They didn't have to do it, they did it because they're part of the community. Cambridge, for lots of reasons, can be a place where it's hard to achieve that kind of community, but I think we've created here a model where there is an understanding of how to do it and of just how powerful it can be. So I'm very proud of what we built. I'm very grateful to everyone who's helped build it, and I'm very excited to see where it goes next. I wish you all the luck in the world. I will miss this, and I will miss you all. Thank you.